It's beer o'clock on Real Ale Craft Beer. Today we're going to beer from Stone and Wood in a 500 milliliter can. It's called the Earl of Swirl and it's a berry cream sour coming in at 6.9% ABV. And if I'm not mistaken, that looks a little bit like Prince to me. Comment in the comments box. Is that Prince? What do you reckon? I think so. I want to thank Travis. Thank you very much, Travis, for sending this wonderful beer all the way from Australia. Australian craft beer. Without further ado, let's get the can out into a glass, see what we get. A little bit of smoke on the can opening. Beer in the glass. Look at the colour. Look at that. Pink. Wow. I get really excited when I see beers like this. Beers of this obvious, from looking at it, an obvious quality to it. We got a 2-finger pinky coloured head. Good levels of carbonation. Looks lovely. Really, really lovely. A little bit of haze in there as well. Should we get the aroma? I always remember my grandfather making... He used to make like blackberry pies and raspberry pies and that sort of thing. So you've got the pie crust in there. That's the malt. But you're also getting all of that kind of beautiful berry, very tart aroma. Smells a bit like warm jam on a stove. It smells really good, really good. Let's dive in. Cheers, everybody. Oh yeah, that is so good. Stone the Crows. Stone the Crows. Very tart, very flavoursome, very jammy. Very, very jammy beer. But then there's something underneath. There's like this almost kind of creamy, lactosey flavour. Now, I'm very funny with lactose. I'm very funny with lactose in beer. I can either absolutely hate it or absolutely love it. It's got to work for me. It has to bind. It has to integrate with the beer. And it is integrating with the beer. It really is. It's just all coming together rather nicely. It's a bit like footsteps on a pond. You know, you're trying not to fall in the water. You're jumping along on these like frogs on the lilies, the lily leaves in are they lilies? Or them big blooming leaves in the water, trying to stay dry. It's just flowing. It's flowing nicely. Nothing's kind of jumping over there going, it's not quite right. Am I making sense? Blackberry, raspberry, berry, creamy mouthfeel, a little bit of carbonation pushes the beer on the inside of the mouth. All good stuff. Good. it's just good. I mean, I could just press stop on the record button now on this video and just leave it at that. You know, it's almost like I've said enough, but I need to go into a little bit more depth. There's an obvious malt quality in this beer as well. There's, going back to my grandfather's kind of fruit pies, that they always had a big crust on them. And again, that crust, that represents the kind of the biscuitiness, if you like, the malty aspect of this beer. It's got beautiful lacing on the glass. If I rock the beer back and forth, look at the quality of this beer. You can see the carbonation chasing the head of the glass. It looks very, very good. Hissy and fizzy, and we haven't even talked about the sourness yet. There's a little bit of sourness in there, maybe a touch of the lactobacillus, which you can either make a beer from the malt stage of the beer. You can either send the malt down the sweet route, which most brewers do with bitters and ales and pale ales and that sort of thing, that sweet balance of the malt, or you can use something called lactobacillus. And without getting too technical with you guys, instead of sending the beer down the sweet avenue, it kind of hits this fork in the road, which is the lactobacillus, and it sends it off being sour. So it makes that malt a little bit sour, and you're picking up that. But I think it's not just the lactobacillus and the malt that's making this beer sour. I think there's a certain kind of sharpness from the fruit in the beer that's just adding a little bit of that sourness. It's a lovely beer. It's a lovely beer, and for what, 6.9% ABV, it's very drinkable. So, let your love unfurl. Dearly beloved, we are gathered here today to excite the senses with something wild and fruity, a delectable berry ice cream swirl brewed for cats who love dark and dreamy desserts. Lose yourself in the rapture of blackberry, raspberry and vanilla bean, which swirl together with creamy lactose. There we go. I don't read the back of the cans. Creamy lactose, and finish with a kick of lactobacillus acidity. With all this balanced on a pale malt backbone and a risque ABV, you got yourself a luscious berry cream sour made of dreams. The one thing I do get, and I mention this in nearly all of my beer reviews when I miss it, for some reason my palate struggles a little bit with vanilla and cinnamon. This beer has vanilla in. It's only when you read the back of the can, it's obvious then to me, to my senses, to go, ah, yeah, actually, there's that creaminess is a touch of vanilla. It's obvious now when I take a taste of the beer. I suppose it's just my palate really. It just misses vanilla a little bit, and it misses vanilla and cinnamon a little bit. But there we go. It's definitely in the beer, and it's very tasty. I'm going to rate this beer. It's a 9 out of 10. 9 out of 10 from Real Ale Craft Beer. Please put your comments in the comments box. Subscribe to our daily beer and food reviews. Give us a big fat thumbs up. Boom. Cheers.